Minasan konnichiwa and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So, guys, the other day I made a podcast talking about the very shameful attitudes of the top rank instructors of All Japan Kendo Federation at the transfer skills transfer event. It's really hard to explain about that in English, but anyways, it was an event basically to tell about the things that the top rank senseis or instructors have discussed about the 12 standard kata of All Japan Kendo Federation Iaido Club, and they teach the things that they discussed about to the lower rank dan trainees. And basically at that event, I explained that there were different 8th dan senseis, the top rank senseis, that were fighting with each other because the things that they talked about, discussed about, and what they really wanted to teach to the younger generations was different. So, and they were actually yelling at each other and ignoring each other and all that kind of stuff during the session, the whole event itself. And it was supposed to last 3 hours, but it ended within 2 hours because they started a fight. And we all paid money for it. And it's just really embarrassing and shameful to explain about that. But the other day after that event, I was talking with my sensei of my dojo. And of course, he knows a lot about the situation. He's a 7th dan instructor as well, so he knows a lot about it. And he explained to me a little bit more in detail about the situation, what's going on. So I wanted to share with this with you guys as well. So basically, it's really easy to understand if you can think of it as there's two big groups within the All Japan Kendo Federation Iaido Club, especially. Maybe it's just in Kyoto, maybe it's also outside of Kyoto too, but at least in Kyoto, there's these two major groups that are fighting each other within the organization. So it's probably represented by the senseis that were fighting each other at the event too. It's probably it's really easy to understand if you think of it as the people who want to do everything traditionally, and there is the people who want to do it in a new fashion way. And the people who are trying to do this in the new fashion way call Iaido as sports Iaido. So if you train in Japanese Budo martial arts, I'm pretty sure you can understand the difficulties of this. It's the same reason why Kendo has constantly be saying that we are not going to become an Olympic sport. Because Kendo is not a sport, but it's a Budo kind of thing. Although it is a sport in many ways, a lot of people still have the pride. They want to call Kendo a Budo and not a sport kind of thing. So of course, Iaido has that pride too. We're not a sport, we're a Budo. It's meant for mental training, that kind of stuff. And there's also people on the other side. There are elderly on that side too, on the side of wanting to call Iaido a sport from now on. And I completely understand what's going on here. I completely understand both sides. What I wanted to say here is I really do understand the one group that wants to do everything traditionally. Yeah, because there are a lot of important messages and teachings through the traditional ways that was taught. Even if it's the All Japan Kendo Federation Iaido Club's 12 standard kata, there are some important techniques, basic techniques that you can absolutely learn from them. And trying to do those skills, practice those skills for the purpose of trying to train yourself mentally, the original, Budo's purpose, is completely understandable. But also at the same time, I really understand the wanting to make Iaido into a sport side too, because again, if you guys listened to the previous podcast, I talked about there was a slip of paper that explained a little bit more about detail about how to do each kata of the 12 kata. And basically there's this Bible of the 12 standard kata, and this paper that they made this time for this event had more extra information in it to kind of fill in the gaps of the book that we basically go back to when we want to try to train the 12 standard kata, because it doesn't explain all of the details, So they made this slip of paper to explain more about the details, but this details was made by just one of the groups within the organization. So the other half was very angry about it, if that makes sense. So the sports side, basically, sports Iaido side, I completely understand what they are willing to do. I do understand it because if you train in Kendo or Iaido too, you probably understand, but the purpose of the 12 standard kata If we go back in history, the reason why we have this 12 standard kata system in the first place is because there are too many ryuha in Iaido. There's way too many ryuha in Iaido. There's over 100 actually existing in Japan even today. And because all of our skills, all of our methods, our rules are different, if we don't have a common training or something in that we can share, we can't train together. For example, our different ryuhas will forever be different ryuhas, and there will be no way for us to get together and train together. So that's the reason why they created the 12 standard kata within the Kendo Federation, so they can train together and share the skills, compete together through the competitions, and do the dan rankings too. But as you guys know, they basically are fighting with each other now because of it, and they're starting to lose its original purpose. And the people who are started wanting to call it sports Iaido is probably doing it because they now understand that the 12 standard kata are only for getting higher dan or winning in competitions. That's the only purpose of it now. The original purpose of, all right, guys, let's take hands and train together by doing these 12 kata are gone. The original purpose is gone. Everyone is training it just because they want to say that I'm in this rank or I've won in this competition, that kind of stuff. That's it, So is that Budo? Is that training us mentally? No, it's not, right? So then trying to forcibly say that this is Budo, this is for mental training, does feel a little bit, what should I say, inappropriate, because we're not. No one is doing it for that purpose. We're all just doing for the competitions and also for the higher dan. I mean, some people like my sensei try to focus on that, even though the skills are almost like sports. So basically, it is almost like sport. That's a fact. So basically, the traditional side are not facing that fact that the 12 standard kata are now becoming a sport. That's truth. If you see it, from a third person point of view, that's true. It's a sport. No one actually sees it. Hardly 99% of the people don't see it as mental training anymore. So I completely understand the side who wants to call it sports Iaido too. But, there's the new and old kind of thing. Yeah. So, and the biggest problem, of course, is very embarrassing and horrible that these people within a organization who are supposed to be the top-ranked instructors are, fighting and attacking each other in public. I think it's very, very embarrassing in the first place. But the biggest problem why this happens is because the 12 standard kata are not practical at all. That's the biggest problem. If the kata that we train in the 12 standard kata were practical, like the ones that you do in Koryu, like in my ryuha and Yushinkan, or the ones that I learn a lot through Asama Ichidenryu's channel and such. Asama Ichidenryu's moves are very practical. If they were very practical, it would be very easy to say that this is the right way to do it, or this is not the right way to do it, or this angle needs to be this angle, or that kind of stuff. If it was practical, it would be much easier to come to a agreement. Okay, that absolutely this way is better. But because the 12 standard kata, if you train in Iaido, you probably immediately realize that they're not practical at all. No, it's not practical. Absolutely not. 100% they're not practical. I mean, even take, for example, the first kata of 12 standard kata, for example, Mae, is you feel the, that the person sitting in front of you is about to attack you. And you slowly put your two hands on your sword and you start to draw and attack your opponent's eyes. I'm pretty sure you'd be dead by then. Right. So trying to discuss creating the kata together with different people, even though the kata that we're creating is not practical, is almost impossible, right? Because there is no goal to it. Then in the end, is there any way to explain this? Let's just call it a sport. I understand that. Yeah. But at the same time, it's very, very sad because just calling it a sport does remove a lot of the unique aspects of Iaido or Japanese Budo martial arts. So it's really complicated, But talking to my sensei, I was definitely able to deepen my understanding about the situation, and I really wanted to share this with you. If you're interested in training in Iaido or anything, if you are willing to know more about the biggest organization in Japan that does Iaido, it is the All Japan Kendo Federation Iaido Club. So you could train in like me. That's the reason why I'm not quitting. Yeah, I really seriously did consider quitting. And if someone tells me to quit, I will be happy to leave immediately. I'll walk away on that second that someone tells me. But until then, because there are a lot of people training in it all over Japan and all over the world, it is better for me to try to train in it and understand the struggles that everyone would go through and not just, stick to the koryu, because in that case, you start to narrow your world a little bit too much and you only see your own ryuha. And I don't want to do that, so I still will continue training until someone forces me to quit. But at the same time, if you're really, really willing to, learn more about practical skills and such, I would absolutely recommend you trying to find a koryu or a kobudo ryuha, like Yushin Kanra Semi Shinryu that I collaborated with. I would absolutely recommend you doing that. And please let me know, yes, again, in the comments about your opinions, if you trained in Japanese Budo martial arts before, even outside of Iaido or Kendo, if there's something similar that you experienced before, please let me know your experiences. So then everyone, as I always say, the ultimate goal of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know there's a lot of people studying Japanese, willing to come to Japan to travel, study, or work, or even train our traditional culture and such as Iaido, right? However, I am very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future because we're facing a lot of social problems, we are losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all the social issues being shoved against them. So I really want to dedicate my life trying to make Japan a better place. I want to try to solve the social problems, preserve and evolve traditional culture, and also help out the younger generations so they can have a brighter future. And to do this right now, my nearest goal, I'm pretty sure, is already changed. I originally was saying that I'm raising money to become a Japanese language instructor, but I'm pretty sure I've already changed that goal to raising money for me to buy my first shakuhachi and collaborate with Kaminaga Daisuke-san for Wagakki Band, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've already changed it to that. So I hope you can check out my Kofi page. That is my goal right now. And eventually next year and such, I'll be presenting some more exciting things. I hope you can look forward to. Actually, I already talked about it a little bit a few times on this podcast channel. But anyways, thank you so much for always supporting me. And I will be waiting for your comments. Thank you so much.